about investment, we talk about competitivity of countries and megacities. And competitivity is related also to productivity in our market sector.
Hi guys, it's my pleasure today to introduce you to the IBD Hub podcast. So last week we have published a video online through LinkedIn and Instagram, and we did that in order to trigger a conversation about how will the future of architecture and design look like after COVID-19. We didn't know in which form to make this discussion. We thought the podcast might be a great solution so that people can react to it and also take the time to listen to it. This episode is the first introduction, and we will talk about how will the market of architecture and construction evolve in the near future and what could be potentially the change and evolution of the market. So my guest today is Nicolas Boffy.
Nicolas Boffy, thank you for joining me today. You're the City Executive and Business Development Director of Arcadis Paris, and you're currently leading Arcadis strategy and development in Greater Paris across all business lines. So today it would be nice if we managed to talk about the impact of COVID-19 on the architecture and construction market. How did you see the situation evolve?
Thank you, Julia, for asking me to testify and to voice my vision about that. So I would say that there was two phases. When the lockdown was decided in France, all construction sites were closed, and there was a huge, very ambiguous time because contractors didn't know what to do. There was no clear public policies about what to do on construction sites. And there was the contractors took the initiative to put the pressure on the French government to say, we're not closing the construction site like that. We want insurances that, and this is global decisions that also with architects, with all the stakeholders on the construction sites, and also to prevent any construction disputes in the future. So there was a collective move towards the French government to establish health and safety regulations on the construction sites. And that was made, I would say, very collectively. And the result is that we have now a very clear recommendations, and most of the construction sites have started again since last week. So this is a quite good initiative from all the stakeholders, and it worked. And major sites have already been reignited.
Yeah. Because from what I could see, with the people I'm working with, especially also in the Netherlands and in the UK, the construction sites have surprisingly not stopped, and they have really tried to push it forward so that the industry wouldn't fall back to a crisis like in 2008. So that's very surprising also in a way that the industry has decided to move forward and not stop completely.
But if you look at the bigger picture, and Arcadis is present in many countries, and what we know is that's very interesting. In very centralized countries like France, it was quite easy to establish and implement recommendations, and to make sure that all the construction sites will be reopened very quickly. But if you look at the United States, this is very different. This is a federal country, and every county or every state has its own regulations, and that it looked like that was a very big mess at the beginning.
Yeah.
Now they have coordinated themselves to reopen the construction sites, but I think that was more complicated in the US.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Overall, I think that it didn't really change. So like architects and engineers seems to still have work. They managed to organize themselves to work at home as well.
Exactly.
Which was a big challenge, I think, for some. I think for Arcadis, you guys are already equipped with to travel the world and work anywhere. But from some smaller practices, I know it has been a challenge to make sure that everybody was able to work on a server and on the same project together.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think that we had very diverse situations. If we're talking about very local firms or global firms like Arcadis, now we are very equipped and used to work very remotely every day. So that was not a big change for us. Yeah. And I think for the architects, that was not a big change because they're naturally agile and they know how to work in very degraded situations. Yeah. So I think they have been very resilient, and I've been in contact with all our architects partners lately, and they have very smartly reorganized their production and their resource, and to still continue their activity and pass the peak of the pandemic. So that's great. That's great to see.
Yeah. And in terms of acquisitions, well, we all know that the meeting got cancelled, for instance. So many business transactions have been kind of postponed. Do you think that we will catch up on that, or that there will be some kind of a gap in the number of acquisitions that we will have?
I would say that there was ongoing acquisitions projects on which we're working as we're doing due diligences, technical due diligences for property managers or for investors. So we're doing that, and so everything was frozen for obvious reason that we could not go on site to make the visit. But the projects are not canceled. And so we can still see that there's a lot of projects in the pipeline. Yeah. And I think in the short term, for the next month, when the lockdown will be lifted in France, I think there will be a lot of acquisitions being made because they were already in the pipeline. So I think the question is more about what will happen at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Because that's where we will see if the market has reignited or if everything was stopped. And so I think the major question is more in next year than in the coming months.
Yeah, sure. I think, well, as you said, people adapted quite quickly. So we don't really feel an issue or a change
in the short term.
In the short term. But probably after lockdown, we will start seeing some changes. Did the clients cope well with working remotely?
I would say that our clients, in the majority, have passed through this period quite easily. Public clients are known maybe for not being the most equipped clients. And if you look at the local authorities, small cities or small clients, they of course they don't have all the equipment and they're not used to that. But they have made the move, and I think there's no coming back. And that's a good thing. We're gonna work more remotely, and maybe we will be more productive and more effective in the way we work with clients. So that's a good thing for public clients. And private clients, I would say that we have seen private developers being very hit very hard. But for among the investors, for instance, we have still been working for them for many weeks. So that's very, there is a lot of diverse situations.
Yeah. Well, I think that's also one of the things that we realized by having this lockdown is the fact that you can actually work for a project anywhere in the world and with a team that is anywhere in the world. And I think many people didn't not realize that, or were reticent to do international projects for that reason.
For the architects, I think there will be a major change in the way they work with clients, starting with the fact that public clients will be more likely to work remotely and asking international architects to come to Paris and make physical meetings. And that's a big change. That was a big hindrance for international architects to work in Paris. So that's a very, very...
It's a very positive thing.
Exactly.
And it will be nice that clients welcome international teams as well.
That's where it's more complicated, because maybe we don't really know. We are on a crossroads, right? There's areas, right? Either we go back to the bad habits, and for economical reasons, and because we want to look at the short terms impact, we will go back to a very bad situation, or we will take this pandemic situation as an opportunity to build more sustainable, resilient, etc. But in terms of public procurement, for instance, I'm not sure if public clients will be eager to select international firms. Maybe they will have in mind that there's a local market and local architects in very bad situations. So I don't know. Of course, the public procurement is very fair and there's no favoritism, but there's still a question about, there's a lot of small architect firms in France, you know that? That's a very strong cultural thing. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll try to encourage local, maybe more than, okay. But how do you think that it will evolve in terms of market? We will go back to the same situation, or will there be an adjustment to do?
I would say that there's a question of investment. And if we talk about investment, we talk about competitivity of countries and megacities. And competitivity is related also to productivity in our market sector. And construction is still very late in digitalization, industrialization. And so I think that crisis will help us in accelerating this very strong but slow trend. Okay. And my view on that is that we will see the rise in the coming months, the very strong rise of off-site construction, modular construction, just as it's been very generalized in Asia, right? Singapore, in Hong Kong, to build more quickly, more effectively. There's so many advantages of building this way. And I think they also have been very marking situations at this hospital in China being built in 10 days. Whereas in France, we were struggling with trying to build a campaign hospitals with barely no So I think that kind of situation will mark people and also all the stakeholders of the construction sector.
Yeah.
So I see that as a very big trend in the coming months. And the other trend will be the fact that sustainability will be generalized not as something more or costly, but as a value in the assets. And because if you look at the way um, buildings are more and more carbon neutral in the future, it means that the developers who will build buildings and assets now in 2020 and they won't be carbon neutral, they will have to be retrofitted in the coming years and it will be very costly. So this is not seen as a cost, but as a value. And I don't think the coronavirus situation will end that. Or on the contrary, I think it will accelerate that kind of trends in the sector. Yeah.
Yeah, there will be also a discussion about the quality of architecture and real estate. We are now facing a situation where our houses are actually places where we need to work and concentrate and also do homeschooling. We have seen the benefits of having outside spaces, so balconies, gardens, and so on. In terms of offices, we saw opposite trends where we realized we don't need that much space to work. So for sure, those are factors that will also be taken into account when the new investors will start a new project. And that might be a situation where people need to adjust a little bit to the needs of the users, and hopefully that will bring the quality up, because we tended previously to COVID-19 to shrink the apartments, to make open plan offices, and now we have seen the failures of these typologies. And we also understood certain social behaviors. So
yeah, Julia, on the city level, that's not really surprising because cities have always been shaped by pandemics. And if you look at Paris, the way Haussmann did the Paris, it's related to hygiene and sewage system and getting rid of the rats and the pandemics. So that's of course at the city level there will be changes in the density or in the way we design public realms and public spaces. That's true, but I think that was already ongoing before COVID-19. There's so much right now people telling that there will be a revolution and things will never be the same. That's true, but I think that was already on tracks, but that was very slow. And the pandemic will only accelerate that trend. So that's good. That's very positive.
Yeah, I think it's very positive. I think sometimes we were forgetting the quality of space over the maximization of the meter square and the rentability of the land as well. So hopefully in big cities, that will be beneficial, and probably we will end up building taller and more prefabricated, as you said, but it will definitely have a positive impact. The field has to innovate. We're quite slow compared to other fields.
I think that's also very interesting for architects and engineers on the design phase, because we've seen that with time, that phase was shrinking, because we were more industrializing the process, and that there's a lot of automation now. And so stepping back and having thoroughly thinking of where we want to live, how we want to design residential, how we want to redesign corporate real estate that will give more space to the architects and to the designers, and maybe will rebalance the value time on the design phase. So that's also very positive for designers.
Yeah. And do you think that the process that we have to go through from the competition phase to the delivery of the building, do you think that will shrink?
I think so, because especially in France, where we don't have fast track construction, you can find that kind of process in the UK or in the US or in Asia, but we don't have that. But that's very interesting for cost efficiency and productivity, and to improve the way we digitalize all the process. So that's very interesting, and that's a necessity for competitivity.
Yeah.
But we don't have to shrink too much the design phase, because there are a lot of things to rethink from the beginning.
Yeah. Well, I think most of the time the decision-making process makes things quite slow. Brainstorming about new innovative ways to answer the requirements of the client and the users, I'm hoping that these discussions are more motivating and that people want to take decisions quickly.
Yeah.
Our minus in our field is that we take so long to make those projects happen, and meanwhile the clients and the users are already evolving past our building.
Yeah, we will see major changes in that field. That's true. And the first to understand that are our clients, because they've seen that they can go quicker, and there was unnecessary meetings, and they go. So it will come from the client side for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Julia.
Hopefully we will start a debate. I'm curious to see how people will react to what we just discussed. Thank you.
Thanks everyone for listening. I cannot wait to get your feedback on this podcast. So please feel free to comment and also rate us. And I'll see you next week for another episode.